Hello and welcome to the Ham Radio Guy. Today I'm bringing you the tower build for my site, 65-foot tower, and put that up pretty much in the month of September. So I'm going to walk through the video. I'm going to do a bit of a voice overlay on this situation because I've just got so many different photos, kind of need to explain. And then I've got one or two kind of pre-recorded videos already in the video set up for this. But and then we'll come back and kind of finish it off at the end, but kind of give a quick summary, explain everything that's going on along the way that I may have not covered otherwise throughout the video. So hopefully you enjoy this. It does have a couple quick clips in there of time lapses showing the tower build along the way, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. So you can see here, we've got the box built. We've got some braces across the top for this tower to be able to be as square and straight up and down vertical as possible. And we think we've got all the bracing in place. You can see the reinforcements around the outside of the box. And here we are starting to put some rocks into the bottom to help with drainage as we get the water in the bottom. We want the tower to, anything that comes to the pipes of the tower, we want that to be able to drain out. And we put some corner reinforcements, little brackets on each one we screwed to make sure the thing didn't move at all. Had it reinforced every which direction we could think of to make sure when they put the concrete in that was not going to be moving at all. So we're going along good. We're putting in the concrete. They're bringing it in by the buckets, and we're having to shovel it in because of the limited space that is available for us to be able to just dump it in. So, and plus it's only a 4-foot box. Their bucket was much bigger than that. So as we move along here and they continue to fill this bucket a little bit, we think we're looking pretty good and not bad. But all of a sudden we're getting to be about 3/4 full, and we're putting the rebar in now at this point, and making sure everything's looking good across the board. So, kind of putting, getting rid of any air pockets and tamping in it as we go. And all of a sudden we have a little bit of an epic failure. One side of the whole box just crashes out and breaks apart. Boards, screws didn't hold. So it came a little bit of a chaotic moment, but the guy was able to kind of put it back together. We put a bunch of dirt in there. Probably a failure on my part not to put dirt around the outside to help reinforce it, but I wanted to be able to remove some of the boards when I was done. And so that, was my holdup on that, but probably a failure after I was looking at this. But as we go into the next couple photos here, you'll see that overall it looked like it came out pretty well in the end. I mean, you're not going to see it below what's the dirt anyway. So it's not too bad. Again, you kind of see the backside. You don't know why that board's sticking out there, but overall it did. I mean, it's a little diamond shaped, or it's a little trapezoid shaped maybe, but for the most part, it is pretty square. You can see it looks pretty good overall on here, and we were able to recover that and fix it in the end. So, which was good. And of course I couldn't resist about putting 2025. I just put 25 on there as the year I kind of did this, so I don't forget. And, here we are putting a first section of tower on it just to see what it looks like and how it's going to work, and kind of testing the height and of this as well. Here, let's go into the big day of the first build. All right. So today is September 4th, and it's about 11:30, almost noon here. And we're just getting ready to start this tower build. We put the top pieces together. We got the anchor plates on and ropes cut for the lower section, and we're going to start the video for time lapse of getting the next section of tower up. We'll have about a minute here where you'll start to see all the time lapse of the video. I'm just going to let this play for a few minutes and let you guys watch that, and I'll come back to you in just a minute here. So I was not going to let any good time of 10 to 11 days pass by without getting anything done. So I'd rented a hand trencher, and that didn't go so well because I had to pull it, literally push it down the hill and then pull it up by hand. And I ended up with 2 blisters out of that. That was not fun. So I called a local electrical company who does backhoe digging. He had this, and that worked out really well. Paid a little bit more money than I wanted, but it was well worth it in the end. So, it's one of those things that you may just have to resort to something like this and, go with it. The other thing I had ran into was trying to figure out how to run my pipe, because this pipe had the angle I came up at and where I was coming out of my shed. I had to create this elbow, and there was no way to do a straight run, or I didn't want to do a direct 90 either. So I did have to create some elbows here, and it wasn't the easiest, but it did work out overall. So 15th of September finally arrived, and we were able to finish the tower build and get the rest of the sections up. Here we're installing the very top section with the mast and the rotor. And again, we kind of had to get back into the groove of things after, being off for 10 days. But, using a gin pole, a lot of rope, it worked out really well. Here he is kind of getting the top section ready to go with lifting up the tri-beam. That's a mostly CL33, and we were able to get that up and running pretty good overall. He had a little problem getting it secured and mounted up there, but after that, because we're also doing the guide wires about the same time, so we're trying to get all this squared away, and we wanted to keep the guide wires out of the way until we got the top section or the antenna up. And you'll see me running around all the different ones, tightening up the guide wires and securing them to the post. And let me show you what one of our posts looked like as well. So this post is a 10-inch I-beam with a gusset welded to the top of it there, as you can see. And this is 42 inches in the ground. I probably should have made them a little bit longer than I did, but that is what I end up doing for those I-beams. So they were really well made and solid in the ground, and sure does beat just a auger type post in the ground otherwise. So this is definitely my choice in the future for making a future anchor. But those holes should have been a little bit bigger than what I had the welder make. Now that we've got the antenna secured, looks like the lines are secured. I've got a camera that I'm putting up there. That is something that's towards the top. I know he was kind of working around trying to get that secured. And then we moved on down to the VHF UHF antenna for my 2 meters. It's a dual band diamond X300, I think it is. And that was mounted. Then we moved on to an APRS X30 antenna that I use for APRS digipeater here at the site. There's a picture of the camera you can see just briefly. And then we started working into the repeater antenna. This is a DB240 antenna, so I can do all 4 directions. And he did have some troubles getting that mounted up there. It was a little bit of a pain, and you can kind of see where it's angled for a little bit, and he had to move things around. But I wish I was up about another 20 feet, but I also need about another 20 feet of tower. I have one dead spot in the county here that I'm a little disappointed in, but the overall repeater range is between 9 and 13 miles. A little bit of terrain is holding me up on one side, but it does a pretty decent job. It's got pretty good coverage over to Wisconsin. Now you can see a little bit more of just the tower itself. There's another view of it from a different angle. And as we go into the box, you can see my box has a lot of information in it coming in. I've got a lot of cords there, and you can see that all the different Ethernets and things that I had, rotor cables and 2 hard lines and some I think 1 or 2 Elmar 400s. This is a 3-inch electrical conduit pipe. I've got them glued together for each section. They are a 10-foot section, so I had to have 150 feet basically to go down. Those shield caps that sit on the top of the cable coming out, Those are very expensive for 3-inch pipes. I would not want to buy them again. But I mean, it's I had to keep water from getting in somehow. So probably the best thing I could find was for those. If you have a better idea, one's kind of in front of the other, as you can see. In the I have another tower, or not tower, but a beam, and that little pipe's coming in behind that. So I had to put one in front of the other. It's not my most ideal setup. I would like to be able to change this somehow, but I'm not sure exactly what to do now. All the things are on the ground, but that does go into all the wires then go into a another inside to the Morgan system lightning arresters. And I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. So this is the KF7P box, and this is what it looks like inside with the Morgan system lightning arresters and a rotor arrestor as well. And then you've got the cables that go inside the with a 3.5-inch hole. It does require a little bit bigger hole than a 3-inch pipe because that was inside diameter and not outside. So I did have to drill a bit bigger hole, but I've got that sealed up with silicone, and it's very well protected. And I've got now insulation in there as well, but that kind of keeps any other critters out from there on the inside. So definitely worth having that and going through the holes. And it's actually a little bit fuller now than what you see in this photo. That was kind of the initial setup of it going across the board. So, and then if you take a look inside coming in, this is the rack. I've got a rack over the top that holds all my control cable, that holds all my coax, and then it's coming down to the different radios and everything in the back. It is a cluster in the back. I would like to have a little bit more organized, but as it is, I'm gonna have to move this rack out 3 inches to fit the PGXL in the rack. So all that's already kind of been moved around, and it's gonna have to be rearranged again. So no use of organizing the cables until I have to move this rack again sometime this week. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this. I hope you found this educational. And this is what I've done to do the tower at my site here. So as you can see, this tower didn't come without any challenges overall that I had to go through from the very beginning and trying to just figure out how to get the antenna or the tower squared up, lined up so it's perfectly vertical, kind of going down a hillside at the same time trying to make sure it's going perfectly vertical and that it's level is in every which way. Then having the concrete failure, kind of an epic failure there. Probably should have filled in dirt around it to keep the supports there. Didn't think about that at the time. Hindsight's always 2020. Getting some of the structure of the rotor plates, the different guide wire brackets all connected, the hardware all connected, all took very much a lot of time to be able to complete and get done. And so that occupied a lot of our day in the first morning in getting started. So we probably could have gotten a little farther ahead, but doing all the hardware I had not done ahead of time probably would have saved us some time with the tower guide there and ready to climb and ready to go. So again, hindsight's 2020, but probably should have had some of those things done ahead of time. I did add 20 feet of tower that was brand new to this. You probably saw in some part of the video where the top two sections are a little more shinier. And so I had new sections added. It's about 65 foot tall overall. I'd like to be able to have another 20 feet added to see if that helps with the repeater, which I'm sure it would. But I don't know how and when that's going to be able to get done. That's maybe a future goal down the road. I'm not sure my neighbors would appreciate it either, but it's going to have to take down at least the top section of the tower and be able to add some of the things back into it. Maybe taking that top plate off, maybe just lowering the whole top section and adding 2 new sections and then putting the top section back in again. I don't know what that would look like. Not sure what the direction we'd have to go with that, but have a tower climber do it. Do you have a crane come and do it? It's a lot of different questions there, how we would end up looking at doing that, because it is on a hillside. So I'm not sure if the crane could do it there. Maybe they can. I'm sure they'd like to have a more of a level surface to do it. And then just getting all the cable, again, the LMR 240s, the hard lines, the Ethernet, the rotor cable, all that, the LMR 240, all that through the 3-inch cable. I didn't come without a lot of challenges trying to find ways to grease it up, use WD-40, using a rope to pull it through, using a vacuum cleaner with a plastic bag sucked to it to try and pull the rope through. That worked once. It didn't work a second time because we were doing shorter 30 and 40 foot sections the first time. Because remember, we had about 160 foot run, 150 foot run down from the shed down to the tower, going down a hill. And so it worked, and we did it in 30 and 40 foot sections. But when I tried to do the 160 foot section, it didn't work so well. So just a lot of challenges to this setup overall. Things I didn't really expect maybe, but again, renting that ditch witch to be able to dig the trench. And then the guy said, oh yeah, it'll propel itself. And then it was all manual labor. There was no way that thing was propelling itself. It didn't do it. And so he lied to me about that. And that caused me 2 blisters in my hands. That hurt. That was a lot of, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack that day pulling that thing up the hill, trying to get that thing to dig a trench. And I was gonna go 8 to 10 inches deep. I got maybe 4 inches deep with it. And I said, I'm giving this up. I'm taking it back. This is junk. So I had a local electrical company come and help me dig that other trench, and did a great job with that overall. So overall, I've probably got, I'm guessing I haven't really got a true cost into this, but with equipment, hardware, and everything else, I've probably got close to 10 grand invested in this tower. From the camera, the rotor controller, all the cable I purchased, and all that cable is ABR industry cable, except for the Ethernet cable. I did that myself. But I do have another 65 foot of Ethernet cable going from the camera down to the base. That is an ABR Ethernet outdoor rated cable. And then the other cable I have, it was a hard line going from the DB240 repeater antenna down to the base. That's also a hardline antenna there. So that was not ABR by any means. And then the 2 hard lines is going from the repeater back to the house. And then from the VHF, UHF line is also a VHF or a ABR. I'm sorry, it's a times microwave cable. So I don't know, something just got my eye, piece of dust or something. My apologies. Anyway, that is the tower overall. Again, I've got an APRS eye gate on there, and probably could have raised the rotor up a little bit more, but it's not bad where it's at. It's got good support. I'd still like to put a 40 meter antenna on top of that tower, potentially as well, to be able to have a 40 meter setup, because I do not have a 40 meter beam at this point. I can only go up to 20 meters. I don't have 40, 60, 80. I don't have 75. So I'm kind of limited in some respects, which I don't like. So I'm thinking about trying to maybe go from the, I have a mast in the house here, the shed, for a TV antenna. I may run from that down to the tower and see if I can run an end-fed half-wave antenna that way. So we'll see if I can run that down to the tower, get 160 feet down the hill, and run north-south. That means I'm going to get east-west out of it most likely, which is what I need anyway. But that is the overall setup I have for the tower. And hope you've liked this. Hope you found it informative. Please use any of my affiliate links that I have to help me support the channel and help me support this endeavor and putting this up. And anyway, this is it's been a fun project. It's been very educational. Learned a lot. I should probably take you through another video down the road for grounding. That's been something I did do. I've got 3 copper rods coming off, brass rods, whatever, coming off the each leg of the tower with some hardware and 6 gauge solid copper cable. I've got special connectors going back to the leg of the tower for that. And then I've got it grounding at the house here as well. And just trying to make sure I'm protected any which way, because basically it's a big lightning rod sitting on a hill and we're about 1,100 foot up. So lightning is certainly possible in hitting this thing. And so I'm also well insured. Amateur Ham Radio Associates is my insurer for this. So anyway, not an affiliate link, but definitely go use them. Maybe a little more expensive than ARRL, but they do have great coverage overall. Haven't checked it yet, but good reviews. So anyway, thanks for watching. 73. Help me get to 500 subscribers before Christmas or by the beginning of the new year. And I'll be doing a giveaway at 500 subscribers to the channel. So I'm hoping that you will be a part of that and want to watch when I go that and do that live. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. 73.